year 2000, it was more than 50%. An Olympics update yesterday, a disappointing silver medal in ice dancing, but America went 1-2 in women's moguls, and we won the gold in the men's 1,000-meter speed skating, also second place at men's Super G. Today, men's hockey has their opening game against Latvia. The medal total so far, Norway in first place with 13 total medals, and America coming back second place right now with 12. Norway has 7 gold, though. We only have 4, but there's 10 more days to go. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. Bill O'Reilly has your message of the day. Next.
Most people do not want a lecture when they are ill. They want medication fast. But too often, the system makes it harder than it should be. Appointments take weeks. Prescriptions get denied. Your insurance gets in the way. That's why more Americans are switching to all family pharmacy. If you already know what medication works for you, all family pharmacy makes it easy to get it. You order online, licensed doctor reviews a request, and your medication is delivered directly to your own door. They carry everyday prescription medications, antibiotics, ivermectin, NAD+, others you will not always find at big chain pharmacies. So choose freedom. Choose the right pharmacy. Choose All Family Pharmacy. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use my code BILL10. Save 10% on your next order.
Missouri's premier boat show returns in 2026 as the St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show comes to America's Center the weekend of February 20th through the 22nd. See world-class fishermen working the latest new lures in the hog trough and see how the live fish react. Ride the mechanical bull, see a live stingray encounter. Plus, stop by the STL Power Sports booth and register to win a new e-bike valued at $3,000. The St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show, America's Center, February 20th through the 22nd.
Why are you going to work? It's Sunday.
It's a brand new show on News Talk STL. JC's Sunday Showgram.
We'll talk love this week, the ups, the downs, and we'll address the occasional debauchery that took place at a certain little building on Watson Road in Crestwood back in the day. And have you ever been fired while using a urinal? Guess who was? All brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
Sunday morning, 7 to 9. Then podcast each Monday on newstalkstl.com.
Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Thursday, after all this time, reports are surfacing that Donald Trump called Palm Beach authorities in the year 2006 to warn them about Jeffrey Epstein's conduct. So, Trump haters desperately trying to link the president to Epstein's crimes have been dealt a big setback, right? No. CNN and others are spinning it this way. Trump knew what Epstein was doing and didn't act quickly enough. So, how would CNN know that? It doesn't say. It just continues to throw out ideological nonsense and preposterous analysis every day. Nothing can be done about press deception because of the First Amendment. However, CNN has lost millions of viewers because of its poor and dishonest reporting. Even on breaking news, it's all speculation all the time over there. The network sent Jake Tapper to Arizona to cover the terrible Guthrie kidnapping. Tapper stood in front of a cactus. It was hard to tell them apart. Anyway, very tough these days to get honest analysis, but you knew that. President Trump, all of the information indicates, was not associated with Epstein's crimes. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. All right, let's go to the mail. Edwin Pinder, West Haven, Connecticut. Hey, Bill, got to tell you, I'm disappointed that you watched the National Football League and you went to the Super Bowl. You are supporting this controversial stuff by talking about it. Okay, Edwin, my job is to assemble information and give it to you. Edwin, that is my job. We do not do ideology here. This is not an ideological crusade place. You got plenty of those. You don't need another one. So, I go to the Super Bowl, okay? And then I'm doing a story on San Francisco's collapse because I'm there. And then I found out why the Devious Rabbit was given a halftime show. And Edwin, you did not know that Apple was behind it. You didn't know it because no one knew it until I found out. And it wasn't hard to find out. Just because it's me, you know, when I ask somebody something, they usually pony up the information. But again, we are here to gather information. This is not ideology that we're pushing. But I appreciate the letter and you watching it. Michael, concierge member. Michael is an advantage in life now. He's got my team behind him. So if somebody does something untoward to Michael, we'll help him. Michael says, I'm not sure I'd call the halftime capitalism in a strict sense. I guess it could be. But in this case, it was not consumer demand in a free market. Yeah, Michael, it was. And you got 138 million people watching. And Apple's going to make a ton of money from downloads with Bad Bunny. They're going to make way more than they invested in the NFL. That is capitalism. In a moment, something you might not know. Here's a bulletin for American homeowners. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud called title theft. And your equity is a target. With just a forged signature, your ownership can be transferred out of your name. Without protection in place, you are left with an emotional and financial nightmare. That's why I partner with Home Title Lock, so you can find out today if you're already a victim and protect yourself. Use promo code BILL at HomeTitleLock.com to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if you're a victim of fraud, they'll spend up to $1 million to fix it. So don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code BILL.
If you're worried about losing your health insurance through Medicaid, we have great news for you. New government regulations have expanded the Affordable Care Act. And now you may qualify to get health insurance for you and your family through the Affordable Care Act. Call now to learn if you qualify. We know the healthcare regulations regarding Medicaid, and we've helped thousands of people find quality, affordable health insurance. Plus, all our research is free to you. So call us. With just one call, we'll shop from hundreds of different insurance companies to find you the right affordable health insurance plan. So if you're worried about losing your Medicaid insurance, call right now. Speak with a licensed agent and find how you may qualify for a new health insurance plan.
800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. 800-479-0931. That's 800-479-0931. Paid for by the Health Insurance Hotline.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 217 years ago today, a baby was born in rural Kentucky. His life will be defined by personal tragedy and incredible courage. He will be remembered as the greatest president in American history. Here is the true story of Abraham Lincoln. Born February 12, 1809, the family moved to Indiana, then Illinois. Before his 10th birthday, Abe's mother died from so-called milk sickness. She contracted the illness after consuming dairy from cows that grazed on poisonous plants. Devastated, young Abe turned to books, reading the Bible, classic literature, and the plays of William Shakespeare. As a young man, Abe worked as a farmhand, ferryboat operator, storekeeper, postman, and eventually an attorney. He entered politics in 1834 at the age of 25, serving first in the Illinois General Assembly, then the U.S. House of Representatives. Abe was instrumental in the rise of the Republican Party. Lincoln then launched 2 campaigns for the Senate. He lost both of them. But the exposure propelled him into the national spotlight for his strong anti-slavery position. Abe Lincoln was selected as the first Republican presidential candidate in 1860, was elected to lead the divided nation later that year. The Civil War began 39 days after Lincoln's inauguration. Now, the president spent the next 4 years struggling to save America. The battle took an immense toll on his personal life and physical health, but he did succeed in preserving the Union, as we all know. Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to the Union forces on April 9, 1865. Just 5 days later, a Southern hater, John Wilkes Booth, shot and killed Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. The president was 56 years old. For more amazing stories about Lincoln's life and death, please check out my best-selling book, Killing Lincoln. Back in a moment. Are you trapped in a timeshare? Fees rise every year, while availability keeps shrinking, and resorts make exiting nearly impossible. That's why I endorse only one timeshare exit company, Lone Star Transfer. They're family-owned, transparent, committed to treating every client with respect while telling you the truth. Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 40,000 owners exit their timeshares legally and ethically through a simple, proven process. First, you receive a complimentary case review to confirm eligibility. Next, an exit strategy is customized to your specific situation. Finally, the Lone Star Transfer team implements your plan, guarantees results. I have partnered with the owners for more than 5 years, personally witnessed the outcomes delivered to our listeners. No surprise fees, no unused vacations, no stress, peace of mind. So please visit LoneStarTransfer.com or call 855-551-7066. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration is ending its massive immigration crackdown in Minnesota after weeks of angry mass protests, thousands of arrests, and 2 fatal shootings. Border Czar Tom Homan says there's been a reduction of ICE officers having to call for help from a Quick Response Force, or QRF.
The QRF deployments have dropped dramatically because we have less of that occurring, less of the agitator that crossed that line. That is a good thing. That is a win for everybody, not just for the safety of law enforcement officers. It's a win for this community.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says Homan assured him immigration officers will leave immediately.
So as soon as they can pack their stuff, book a plane, move on. I would volunteer. We will help you get to the airport. We will clear the roads to get you to the airport.
The Environmental Protection Agency has revoked a key scientific finding that supported U.S. regulations on greenhouse gas emissions. This decision rescinds a 2009 declaration that carbon dioxide and other gases endanger public health. President Trump says the move will save Americans a lot of money when buying vehicles.
This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically. You're going to get a better car. You're going to get a car that starts easier, a car that works better for a lot less money.
Environmental groups are certain to challenge the action in court. The EPA also proposes delaying a Biden-era rule on vehicle emissions, which could impact the push for electric vehicles. A down day on Wall Street, with the Dow dropping 669 points, the Nasdaq dropping 469, with the S&P 500 down by 108. More at townhall.com.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too. Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too.
It's true. Millions of Americans agree with President Trump, and they're switching to Newsmax. They're watching great shows with Greta, Carl Higbie, Rob Schmidt, Xfinity, and more. If you're tired of big media, start watching Newsmax. It's free to start. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com for immediate access. Get all of President Trump's most important events live. Imagine watching Mike Huckabee's Israel Report, our Melania documentary, Clint Eastwood, Charlie Kirk specials, even the movie Jesus of Nazareth by Franco Zeffirelli. Once you start Newsmax Plus, you won't stop. So try it for free. Go to NewsmaxPlus.com, then download the app. It's easy. So make the switch to Newsmax Plus today.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies, a high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Steph's Pizza. You know the name. They're famous for their St. Louis-style pizza. But don't forget their party platters for the holidays. Steph's sandwiches, pasta, and pizza are always big hits at any get-together. And the party platters make it easy. 3 great locations, St. Peter's on Juggerman, in St. Charles on Zumville, and their newest location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pondfort Trail. Check them out at Steph'sPizza.com, Steph'sPizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steph's Pizza.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my favorite go-to store for seafood, gourmet goodness, and tons of wine. It's Stars, 1135 South Big Bend. A huge selection of seafood flown in from the coast. Lemon sole, halibut, Maryland lump, crab, Gulf shrimp, and you gotta try the trout dip. Plus, imported and domestic hand-cut cheeses, lots of hand-picked wines at great prices, hard-to-find gourmet foods, and fresh roasted coffee using only the best quality beans. Stars, 1135 South Big Bend, just off of Highway 40.
On the next
Larry Connors USA.
Today's story behind the story. Headlines bring to mind the Charles Lindbergh baby kidnapping.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
In the
hundreds of millions of dollars to terrorist groups, to
know.
transnational criminal organizations, to the drug trade, to drug trafficking, to child trafficking. And you took $10,000.
That's a lie.
And helped them do it. You know, the other thing is whistleblowers came to you as early as 2019. Let's look. As early as 2019, whistleblower. Don't talk over me.
No,
as early as 2019, it's my hearing, pal. As early as 2019,
don't call me
whistleblowers came to, well, I should call you prisoner because you ought to be in jail.
Well, we'll see what you can do.
In 2019, whistleblowers came to you in your office and referred to you fraud allegations from Feeding Our Futures, and you blew them off. Listen, your own state newspaper investigated it, the Minnesota Star Tribune.
The fireworks were flying on Capitol Hill, and our own Missouri U.S. Senator Josh Hawley was leading the charge of lighting the fuse. Keith Ellison there, the extremely corrupt attorney general. I cannot believe that guy still holds political office of the not-so-great state of Minnesota in the hot seat, Chris, up on Capitol Hill.
Man, I'm glad we weren't on the air when that was being played because I was cursing all up a storm, but in a good way
for Josh Hawley. Wow, that was impressive, and I like seeing that because yesterday we saw Pam Bondi on the Hill being grilled by the Democrats. So it was nice to see somebody on our side give it to their side today. But go Josh Hawley. I'm not always happy with some of the positions that you take and some of the things that you advocate for, but right here, I'm behind you 100%, Senator.
Agreed and agreed. And I knew the hearing was going to take this turn, Chris, and it was pretty much obvious to anyone who was watching when out of the gate, the first question that Josh Hawley presented to Keith Ellison was, you are the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, correct? There was a pause and silence, and Keith Ellison was looking at him, and he said, you know who I am. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You can't even you're going to be so combative that you won't even agree as to who you are for the record. That's called establishing the record. That's called identifying who the Senate is speaking with. And they went round and around on who are you right now testifying for like 5 minutes before Josh Hawley moved on to a more substantive set of questions.
Yeah, and of course that is Mr. Ellison, the AG of Minnesota, playing to the Democratic base. They want fight, they want fire, they want somebody taking on Donald Trump and the Republicans. So he did his part today. But if this was a boxing match and that was the first round, you know how they judge boxing matches 10-9, on the point schedule. I have to give that round definitely to our senior citizen from Missouri. Absolutely incredible. It's amazing. On top of that hearing yesterday, there was a big news today. The border czar Tom Homan announced that they will be removing troops from the ICE agents out of Minnesota shortly. They're going to just leave a small contingent of people there. So it'll be interesting to see how Minnesota, Minneapolis, that region fares with the ICE agents being removed. And I'm sure the next few days they'll be crowing about the so-called victory that they've had, that they've been able to drive the ICE agents out. So that'll be the story coming up here in the next few days, of course.
Yeah, and it'll be up to the more factual networks to report on what's actually going on, which is that local law enforcement has agreed to work with the feds. I'm sure that Homan will be keeping a very close eye on Minnesota, on Minneapolis, and if things get out of hand, I doubt Tom Homan will hesitate to send in forces once again. Meanwhile, the Trump administration also announcing today that they have found not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands of missing migrant children who went missing under Joe Biden's administration in Minnesota.
Yeah. Homan said in a statement today that for those who say that we are backing down from the immigration enforcement or the promise of mass deportations, you are simply wrong. Prioritizing public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we're forgetting about everybody else. So Tom Homan trying to head off the criticism from, I'm sure, our side that I think maybe we are retreating, or the Democrats feeling that they have won this battle. They have not. Donald Trump and Republicans, this is an issue for us, is illegal immigration, and that's not something that we're going to be backing away from anytime soon. It was also announced back in January, and this was done quietly, but the Trump administration has pulled troops out of Portland, Los Angeles, and Chicago, but there are still troops in Washington, D.C., and Memphis, and New Orleans. So the fight continues.
Yep, and the Trump administration continuing to deport illegal aliens, just like the Obama administration did, just like every administration, Republican and Democrat, before them. And I hope Democrats stay on the wrong side of this issue, because CNN, the excited Harry Enton, the excited Enton from CNN, had some brand new polling out over the last 24 hours indicating that depending on, and he was comparing a bunch of different polls from a bunch of different sources. And whether you look at the Rasmussen poll, the CNN poll, there was a couple other polls he mentioned, Americans are in favor of deporting illegal aliens anywhere between 55 to 65% of Americans. So a majority to a strong majority of Americans when asked, and Harry Enton described it as a very blunt question. The question in all the polls was, do you favor deporting illegal aliens? That was the question. And 55 to 65% of Americans said, yes, we do.
That's a good thing. And you can see that the Democrats are going to continue to double down on stupid. Brand new governor, Mikey Sherrill, I think that's how they say her name. She announced a portal, Tim, in New Jersey, that the citizens there can upload photos and videos of federal immigration activity. And she signed an executive order banning ICE agents on New Jersey state property. So I think we're going to see a battle there between the federal government and the state. Who has jurisdiction there. I think ultimately the federal government does if there are illegal aliens in that state. That's their job to remove them. So Mickey Sherrill trying to make a statement early in her gubernatorial run.
Yeah, Democrat leaders are upset that the Trump administration is trying to deport their illegal Democrat voters. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We were called xenophobes and racists when we brought up the theory that that's why they wanted all these people to flood in under Joe Biden, and that's what they're fighting against, the deportation of criminal illegal aliens, because they want them to be able to be utilized as future Democrat voters.
You know, I would like to dive down deeper into that poll because a majority of Americans do support deporting illegal aliens. But if you look at other polls, they say that they want the hardcore criminal types being removed, people that have been here for a long time that are supposedly upholding the law, being good, quote-unquote, citizens. They want them to stay or to find a citizen of legality for them. But people that are here illegally, that are causing crimes, that are criminals, yes, they want them out.
Oh, yeah, I think the number is even higher when you're talking about criminal illegal aliens. Yeah. But here it is right here. Recent surveys have shown that roughly 54% to 66% of Americans support the concept of deporting immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally. Yeah. That's just the stat. All right, we've got a ton of other news to cover as well. Why did El Paso International Airport close its airspace yesterday? Originally, the indication was they were going to shut it down for up to 10 days. That order was reversed, and it was, I think, reopened within 24 hours. We're going to ask Admiral Charles Williams, U.S. Navy retired, about that. He's a Navy guy. He's a water and sea guy, but I know he knows a thing or two about aviation and airplanes as well. So we'll talk about that with him at 4:25. Chris, what's up at Chris's Corner this afternoon?
Yeah, Chris's Corner, we're going to talk about everyone wants spending cuts, just not these. So I will go more into detail on that on Chris's Corner at 4:45.
Speaker's stump speech will continue along the lines of examining where Democrats used to be on illegal immigration versus where they are now. Recognizing reality, or are you going to believe their lying eyes? We say that a lot on this program. You're going to believe their lying eyes. We'll talk about that in the Speaker's stump speech. The Salute Our Troops Gala is right around the corner, February the 27th. That's not tomorrow. Let's see, that's 2 weeks from tomorrow, right? Yeah, 2 weeks from tomorrow. The Salute Our Troops Gala, our own Mark Schmitz, who is a very close friend of the station, father of Jared Schmitz, who lost his life fighting for all of us at Abbey Gate. Mark's going to be in studio, Chris, to tell us all about the February 27th gala at the Foundry Art Center in St. Charles.
Can't wait to. I've never met him in person. I think we've talked to him on the phone, but I've never met him in person. So I'm honored and looking forward to meeting him and having him here in the studio.
He's a great guy. I met him for the first time last spring. He was one of the VIPs at the Jeff Hansen Memorial shooting tournament. So you should come out there this year. It was a lot of fun last year.
I like shooting my guns.
It
so
was.
I'll be there.
They had 18 different clay pigeon stations. It was set up like a golf course, but it was 18 different stations. Shoot the clay pigeons up. You have a team of 4, and you take turns shooting the pigeons, and whoever has the highest score wins.
Don't get a chance to shoot my shotgun too often because you can't shoot them in indoor ranges. You have to go outside. So next year I'll be there.
This is in Lincoln County, so you can shoot everything you want up there. So we'll talk to Mark Schmitz at 5:25 about the Salute Our Troops Gala. The Freedom 13 is what this benefits, of course. Go to thefreedom13.org. Very, very awesome, simple website that's doing so much for our men and women who have served us, continue to serve us, thefreedom13.org. And, of course, producer Joey V with us this afternoon as well. Tomorrow is the day that everyone's always in anticipation for. Friday is tomorrow. Friday. And that features Joey V's movies. And you do have a movie for us this week.
Yeah, tomorrow, Friday, 5:45, we're talking Crime 101. That's a new movie that stars the Hulk, Thor, and X-Men Storm.
Oh.
Or Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, and Halle Berry. And I'll let Chris know if he owes Mark Ruffalo an apology for all that hating you've been doing on that libertarian.
I do not. That's what he calls himself, a libertarian?
Really? Some people do. I don't know.
I'd call him a super lib. That's what he is. He is nowhere near a libertarian. He is way, way far to the left.
But it's a crime whodunit. Three people's lives come together in L.A. on the 101 freeway.
Okay.
Would you compare it to some of the classics like Fear and Loathing in was it Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
You were saying Heat?
Heat? Is it more like Heat?
It's really trying to be like Heat.
Oh, it's
visually
trying to be
with
like Heat.
Maybe
Okay.
a tint of blue. That's something people really think about. Michael Mann's tinting of blue all over L.A. for Heat. Heat's perfect. So anyone who tries to be like that, it's a useless task.
Did you ever see Heat? You'd like it.
It's 2 hours and 50 minutes.
No,
Chris has
that's
probably
too
seen
long.
some of Heat.
That's too long.
It's
That's too long for
but
me.
Chris, it's a cast of it's Al Pacino.
I've heard. Well, I'm surprised I haven't seen. I love Al
It's
Pacino movies.
and it's who else? Everybody's in that movie.
Yeah, it's Robert De Niro and Al Pacino.
Oh,
the
those
big
are my
thing was,
favorites.
they finally get to meet because The Godfather, they never met. So now it was like the big coming together of Al Pacino. and
Val
Robert De Niro.
Kilmer's in the movie.
Okay. 1995.
Yeah, it's really
Sizemore.
it starts and it just goes. And even though it's long, it doesn't feel like it because it's moving so fast that you never get bored.
I think that will be the movie Becky and I will watch this weekend in front of the fire.
You promised me?
Yeah, we'll watch Heat.
Oh my gosh!
I'll give you a review.
Just so you know,
I like it.
It is a perfect 5 out of 5.
Okay.
Toasted raviolis.
Okay.
Oh, you would give 5 ravs to
Wow.
to Heat?
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. How many did it win a bunch of awards or was it too
No.
gangster for Hollywood?
Hollywood was stupid back then.
That's great.
They may have gotten better now. We'll see. The Oscars are March 15th. We'll see what wins the top prize.
It's right around the corner. Oh, that reminds me. We have a bunch of stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. First of all, on Monday, we're giving away bobbleheads. Of course.
Oh, let me step out. I don't want anybody to see it.
The big, the biggest, most beautiful bobbleheads ever.
Am
right?
I covering it up?
Oh yeah.
Joey,
oh
can
yeah.
you keep covering it up?
I didn't realize there was
Yeah,
one. There was one stalking
someone
you over
put
there.
and-
Yeah.
Can you see it?
The biggest, most beautiful bobbleheads ever. Of course, a Trump bobblehead.
Yes.
What else would we give away on President's Day than a
Can we
Trump
put it
bobblehead?
on camera? Or is that?
I think it's okay.
All right.
It's fine. Yeah, there he is. For those of you who are watching us,
Yes.
you get a bonus today because we're showing you the Trump bobblehead.
Look at that.
There it is.
I want one of
How
these. That's going to be a
fantastic.
collector's item.
I think that's
one day.
hilarious. It's the famous Trump hugging the flag bobblehead. We are giving them away on all of our shows. Not now. Don't call now. We're not going to give it to you today. But Chris and I and Joey will give you one on Monday between 4 and 6 p.m. We haven't decided what time yet. We'll probably make you listen to some of the show first. That's only fair for the price of admission. But all of our shows are giving away bobbleheads throughout the day. So you can start listening at 5:30 in the morning and have a chance to win a bobblehead or two throughout the entire day.
The only thing that would make this bobblehead even better if it had a string in the back of it where you pull out a string and you get a Donald Trumpism.
Mm-hmm. I have a pen where you press it and he says things.
Oh,
he
perfect.
says things.
Perfect.
Yeah. He says, what is one of the things he says? The collusion delusion hoax is over. That's one of the things he says.
Lock her up. I'd like to hear that over
Yeah, I
and
think
over.
he says
Lock her
that.
up.
I'll bring that in someday and show you guys. I don't know who gave that to me. It's very funny. And next Friday, Chris and I, and are we letting you out of the studio, Joey V? I think so. Well, no one else knows how to hook this stuff up. So
No, yeah, he's got to come.
Chris, I, Joey, and Jeff Allen, we're all road tripping down to Springfield, Missouri for the annual statewide Lincoln Days. They're going to have a ton of speakers, including U.S. Senator Eric Schmitz and other VIP notables. You should come early and often and see Chris and Joey and I between 4 and 6. We'll be broadcasting live right outside of the banquet center room, and then we'll go in and all break bread and listen to some great speeches to get us fired up for election year 2026.
And it's such a great weekend. All weekend, we've got featured speakers on Friday and Saturday nights at the dinner. Of course, the world-famous hospitality suites on Friday. They do them on Saturday night still?
Some do. Some do.
Hospitality suites for a lot of the senators and congressmen and state reps and state senators will have a hospitality suite with plenty of food and drink and mingle. And it's just a good time of seeing Republicans coming together and fellowshipping. And it's very important in election years to have these type of events so we can all come together and get excited about what we all need to do in November.
Indeed. People ask us all the time, how do I get involved? How do I meet
This
these
is it.
congressmen? How do I meet these senators? You come to statewide Lincoln Days. They're a captive audience. They're right there for you to shake their hands and get their autographs and find out how you can help in their campaigns. Statewide Lincoln Days, all this information about the bobbleheads, about statewide Lincoln Days, and so many other items are at newstalkstl.com. Everything's at newstalkstl.com.
My first Lincoln Days was 2000, and I was working at the St. Louis County Election Board. I had never heard of Lincoln Days, didn't know anything about it, and they said that if you go down there and work a table, you can get some PTO time. So I was like, yeah, what the hell? I'll go down there and do that, and got a ticket to the dinner and have been attending them ever since for the last 26 years.
Great stuff. Great stuff indeed. Come join us and hang out with us next Friday in Springfield. All right. Why did they shut down the airspace over El Paso? We'll ask Admiral Charles Williams next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. He's going to answer those questions and more here at 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies, a high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Hey everybody, it's your buddy Todd from The Right Mind Show. And here's my celebrity friend, Larry Hankin from Seinfeld and Breaking Bad.
I never wanted to end up, talking on the phone to Todd.
The Right Mind Show, Saturday afternoons at 5 on News Talk STL.
I wish plumbing disasters on no one because I've gone through them myself, as I'm sure many of you have. But if you ever need a plumber, and I hate to tell you, if you own a home and you have indoor water, then you probably will. So pay attention here. Ambassador Plumbing is your one-stop shop for anything and everything related to things that involve water in your homestead or your business. And that's their motto. If water runs to it or through it, they do it. AmbassadorPlumbing.com. Ambassador in business since 2018. Coming from 2 Corinthians, be an ambassador for Christ. You know where they're coming from. Tim Morris, what a great name he's got, huh? Tim Morris, the master plumber there, his wonderful wife, Austina. She keeps the business running on time and keeping everything between the ditches. Family-owned and operated operation. And they're local and independently owned. They service the entire St. Louis Metro and the collar counties as well. As I mentioned, residential and commercial work. And you can call them for good things too, right? Because guess what? They don't just handle emergencies. They also do bathroom renovations and remodels. They do new builds. They do fixer-uppers. So whether it is a problem or whether it's a promise, right, that you're going to have something brand new plumbing-wise in the homestead or at the business, they're the ones to call. Small jobs, large jobs, jobs in between. Customer service for these folks, I can tell you, because they're such wonderful people, they really are, is number one for them. And if you look at their ratings online, the customers agree with everything I just said. All right, Ambassador Plumbing 24/7 at ambassadorplumbing.com. That's ambassadorplumbing.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here. When your car needs attention, trust who I trust. Benchmark Complete Auto in Valley Park. 25 years as a family-owned and operated company, Benchmark is your Napa Auto Care Center for nearly every maintenance and repair, using the latest technology and top-quality parts. Need help with the bill? Well, ask about Napa's Easy Pay financing. Mention Jamie Allman and News Talk STL and get 10% off. BenchmarkAutoRepair.com, BenchmarkAutoRepair.com.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
This Steve Bucci update is brought to you by Hydrodynamics. For all your lawn irrigation, outdoor lighting, drainage, hardscapes, and turf management, online at hydrodynamicscorp.com.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude. A significant drawdown has already been underway this week and will continue through the next week. And to deliver on President Trump's promise for strong border security and mass deportation, law enforcement officers drawing down from this surge operation will either return to their duty stations or be assigned elsewhere to achieve just that.
427 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. And unfortunately, we don't have Steve Bucci with us today, but we've got a guy that's just as knowledgeable as Steve Bucci. He is Admiral Charles Williams Jr., or as we like to call him affectionately, Admiral Chuck. Admiral, how are you, sir?
Good. I always welcome those enlightening introductions.
Thank you, sir. All right. You heard the big announcement there. Tom Homan announcing that the ICE agents were going to be leaving Minnesota. There was only going to be a small contingent that was left. That was contingent on having cooperation between the local officials and the federal government. I don't know about you, Admiral, but I trust those folks about as far as I can throw them. Do you think they're going to keep their word and help the ICE agents remove these illegals out of that community?
Well, they're so entrenched in their political philosophy. I don't know that they will either. I mean, the whole idea of sanctuary city, sanctuary state, and you've seen how they've actually promoted people to go out in the streets and protest. And, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but back in the 60s, there was the Kent State shootings. Mm-hmm. National Guard were brought in. This was back when Vietnam and all the protesting. And some people, when you start surrounding military or people who are carrying, or police carrying weapons, and they begin to feel their lives are threatened and stuff's being thrown at them, and they feel that their life is at risk. We are probably lucky there's only been two. I mean, think of all that car ramming and all the other stuff these folks were doing. When you start surrounding people that have law enforcement responsibility, it's scary for them because they want to go home just like everybody else to their families at night. So I do have great concern, but I think Holman did a lot of what he wanted to do. A lot of people have been arrested. Jail capacity is increased. He's gotten some support, but I don't know that I believe all that will hold. But I have a lot of concern. I mean, I don't want to go too far. You asked one question, I'm probably going a little deep. But I do have a lot of concern as I listen to Democratic leadership talk about doing away with eliminating ICE. I mean, we tried that. They tried that with defunding the police. Now it's really almost defund anything that has law enforcement associated with it. And last year, I think there were 1,700 investigations, terrorist investigations being conducted by the FBI. I am convinced that there are terrorists in this country. There was like 130 Iranian potential terrorists that were arrested about a year ago. With the potential conflict with Iran and the United States, if Iran and its leadership wanted to get back at the United States, it could launch attacks in the Middle East against U.S. bases. It could do it here in the United States against locations where it would only take a couple people. I mean, you think about the Tsarnaev brothers and the Boston Massacre with pressure cookers, and you think about Tim McVeigh and his buddy who blew up the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. How much damage could be done with a very small cell? And these people who want to go after these ICE agents, it is their responsibility to identify these illegal immigrants in our country that might commit terrorist activities, set up cells. And if you think about 9/11, there were illegal immigrants as part of that cell, that planning and that execution here in the United States. And having spent time in an area where terrorist activity, in fact, I played the part of a terrorist leader, plotting various things we could do for a coup. It doesn't take a lot of people to do something extremely devastating, and you need ICE. This whole idea of defunding ICE, I struggle to understand where their thoughts are. But anyway, you probably had another question. Sorry, I went long.
Oh,
That's all right. That's all right. Admiral, thanks for joining us once again. I was actually going to ask you to extrapolate on this. And my question is, Democrats, especially D.C. Democrats, are really good at coming up with these catchphrases, these catchy catchphrases that gets their base all excited and riled up. Like defund the police. That was once popular a few years ago. Now it's defund ICE. Now it's, that these federal law enforcement officers are somehow Gestapo Nazis. And, for a while, everybody gets all riled up and starts, banging the gong on that. But then it seems, Admiral, that when these really bad, misplaced policies with these fancy catchphrases go south and it starts affecting people directly, Americans seem to recoil against that, right? I mean, Americans generally, I think a majority of Americans still want to feel safe and secure in their person, and they don't want their communities to be ravaged by criminal illegal aliens. What say you as to that?
Well, that is the primary role of the United States government, is to provide security for its people. I think that's what ICE is trying to do. You're trying to all these people that came in unlawfully during the Biden administration. They came into this country in an amount of something like 20 million is a pretty realistic guess. Who are all these people? We don't know who all these people are, and by law, if you let them in unlawfully, but the legal framework is then to remove them from the country. That is lawful. So we seem to have kind of it backwards on what is a lawful activity versus an unlawful activity. The unlawful activity was letting them in. The lawful activity is taking them, removing them from the country. And I think it's seen the other way around. I think, frankly, there are too many political leaders that believe in an open border. And I am just convinced that anybody who is worth their weight as a terrorist leader who has not found an opportunity to bring in people to the southern border that can wreak havoc in this country is really underestimating an adversary.
Speaking with Admiral Charles William, or Admiral Chuck as we call him, he's also the author of the book Perspective: From the War Room to the Boardroom, 7 Leadership Actions You Can Take to Improve Your Organization and Career. Admiral, my next question is right in your wheelhouse. It's been reported that the Pentagon has told a second aircraft carrier strike group to prepare to deploy to the Middle East. Is an attack on Iran imminent, in your opinion?
There are a lot of people that want to see it happen. I think Netanyahu spent a lot of time with the president, it was either yesterday or today, pushing for that. I think the president is concerned about other countries in the Middle East, what it would do to those countries, what it might do for maritime trade, price of oil, other things he's got to weigh in his mind. Plus, you can have a show of force, but when you execute that operational plan, doesn't always mean things will go the way you thought. So I think he's hesitant to use military force. I think, just personally, I think he's going to get backed into a corner and things aren't going to work out. The Iranians are going to want to find a way to continue these talks. They really want to keep some level of uranium enrichment. The U.S. wants no level of uranium enrichment. I do fear we have military bases over there. Israel could be at risk if Iran decided to launch some kind of attack in retaliation. I always say you got to take out what can hurt you, take out missile sites, radar sites. I'm sure the Navy has made all kinds of plans to execute a plan to diminish any retaliation on the part of Iran. But it's a tough neighborhood. I've been to Oman, just as a little side issue here. So the Omanis really they play a great role. They're right across the Persian Gulf from Iran. They have a relationship there. They have a relationship with us. They value the relationship. When I was the assistant secretary, I went over there and met with their Ministry of Defense about building a facility there for the Navy that we could prevent the flow of oil if there was ever a conflict coming out of Iran going into places like China and other places. But 20% of all the world's oil flows through that strait. And I think it's critical. And the Omanis, I think, are sensitive to what can go wrong if there is a war or a conflict. So they want to be helpful. They're good people. They're trying. And Let's hope something can be done. But you think about 20, 30,000 lives that have been lost, and we have threatened that we will help those folks. At some point in time, I think we have to do something to stay true to our word. I don't know what that will be. Somehow convince the Iranians they've got to stop, and maybe there's some transition in government, kind of like Venezuela. But, I think it's still early in the game and a little tough to tell. But 2 carrier strike groups, if you think about that, aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines, you've probably got 80 airplanes aboard each of those 2 aircraft carriers. You've got a lot of firepower that you can use. And the military is an extension of foreign policy. The president wants to know what his options are. Maybe he's created a plan for him, and so it's up to him to make that decision. And let's hope it works out well for us.
Admiral Charles Williams, our guest here this afternoon, U.S. Navy, retired. Admiral, many of us were surprised yesterday morning when we heard that the airspace around the El Paso, Texas International Airport was going to be closed for up to 10 days. They reversed that decision, and I believe the airspace is now reopened, but we heard a variety of different reasons, everything from potential Mexican drug cartel drones to maybe a potential terrorist threat. What did you take from that report yesterday? And I guess it reminds us that we still live in a pretty dangerous world, don't we?
We do. There hasn't been a lot of detail that's come out from anybody. I mean, I saw something from the president of Mexico. I've seen some reports from the Pentagon. I've seen some reports from the Department of Transportation. The FAA, that would have been the Department of Transportation to issue that. Now, at whose request, I don't know. Having been an airline pilot, I can tell you that there are not that many flights that happen from 10 o'clock in the evening until 6 o'clock in the morning. So cargo flights perhaps, but not a lot of passenger flights. So I don't know how disruptive it really was. 10 days would have been that would have been a lot of time to shut down an airport that has a fair amount of activity. But I'd hate to speculate on what it was: drones, cartels, an adversary. We've had these Chinese balloons fly over locations. We have a military base not all that far from there. I just don't know, because the details have been so skimpy that have come out, that it's got to involve. It's nothing DOW, Department of War would have done. It would have been in conjunction with, I'm sure, with the White House and with Department of Transportation. They would have been the ultimate authority to close that.
Mm-hmm. Admiral, NATO announced a command restructuring plan with the United States, giving up 2 allied operational level commands to European countries. The United Kingdom and Italy will take over command of Joint Force Command Norfolk and Joint Force Command Naples, respectively, from the U.S., while Germany and Poland will share command of Joint Force Command Brunssum on a rotational basis. Your thoughts on these changes?
Well, I think what the president is trying to do, and has been trying to do for some time, is put more responsibility on NATO. I think NATO has sat back and not relaxed, but counted on the United States to come in and be the one that would carry out the day, the one who would put the money into the programs, provide military equipment. I think the president's been pushing hard for greater expenditure on the part of NATO. But I think this is one way to say, look, we're going to give you more authority. We don't have the ability to be everywhere. We're going to give you more responsibility. These are things you can take care of, and we want a better relationship militarily between these commands. So yeah, let's let the Europeans have some more say, more influence of decision making. So I don't see it as a problem. I think it's a good thing.
And we have been speaking with Admiral Charles Williams, Jr. He is the author of the book Perspective: From the War Room to the Boardroom, 7 Leadership Actions You Can Take to Improve Your Organization and Career. Tell folks where they can get the book, Admiral.
Well, it's available at Barnes & Noble or Amazon. Either one, you can go online, order it, and I would appreciate it if you did that. I think you might there are some tips in there. If you're a senior level person developing and mentoring talent to be the next generation of leaders, or you're a junior person who wants to try and figure out how do I get ahead in this organization, there are tips in there for both.
Admiral, thank you so much for your time, and we appreciate you filling in on short notice there for Steve Bucci. Always look forward to talking to you, and we'll talk to you again in the near future.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. All right, 442 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. Coming up, Chris's Corner. Everyone wants spending cuts, just not these. I'll tell you more on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies, a high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Susie Moore. If new flooring makes you think hassle, think again, because Michaels Flooring is changing the game. For over 30 years, Michaels has been locally owned and trusted for quality, variety, and amazing service. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, or ceramic tile, their expert team makes installing new floors exciting, not stressful. That's why customers keep coming back. Visit Michaels Flooring at St. Peter's, Starting Prairie, Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
By the powers vested in me as the self-declared president of pillows, defender of naps, and commander of comfort, I hereby declare President's Day at Snooze is officially ridiculous. Up to $1,000 off Beauty Rest Black, $800 off Stearns & Foster, and the nation welcomes our newest cabinet members, Helix, Molecule, and Copper by Spring Air. Citizens, your spine deserves liberty. Dream mapping is now mandatory. Snooze Mattress Company. If you don't snooze, you lose.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu beef French dip. So good. It's the au jus that makes it. And the Wagyu beef is pretty good, too. I love Capriati's, and you will, too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
This is unbelievable news, and you get the feeling that here we are. It's starting. You see the GDP numbers, the unemployment numbers, Dow at 50K, and now these jobs numbers, and now the manufacturing starts.
Yeah.
Your take on all this?
Yeah, so, I mean, look, obviously one of the narratives they've been talking about is that tariffs are going to be inflationary However, the San Francisco Fed just a few months ago actually came out with a report saying that tariffs are deflationary. And when you look at everything that's going on, the one thing that's certainly not being priced in right now is the fact that over the course of the next few months, Laura, there's an expectation that we will have an extra $150 billion in tax refunds hitting consumer bank accounts from the One Big Beautiful Bill over the course of the next few months. So that is going to light a fire under everything as well. The economy is firing on all cylinders right now.
447 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. Yes, because of the Big Beautiful Bill, the tax rebates are going to be retrofitted or whatever, retro to last year. So people should be getting a lot of money back more than expected in this year's tax returns. 130,000 jobs were created in January. That was way unexpected. So the economy is booming, 50,000 Dow. So things are looking up, and it's just in time because it's still early in the year, and people can start feeling those effects before the midterm elections.
Americans, Chris, when they end up with extra money in their pockets, tend to spend that money. They tend to juice the economy. We continue to be a consumer society. It's why America's economy is so robust. We're not a command and control economy like in communist China. So yes, I heard someone today, one of the brainiacs on one of the business networks, say we could be well below 2% inflation when this next report comes out, and they said by the end of the year we could be near 1% inflation, with GDP numbers at 4 to 5%. So
excellent.
I don't know what the media is going to complain about then, but they'll find something.
They will. All right, Chris's Corner. Speaking of spending, everyone wants spending cuts, just not these.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
We hear it every election cycle. Cut taxes, rein in government, live within our means. Sounds great. I agree with it. Most conservatives agree with it, but there's always a catch. And this week in Jefferson City, we saw it in real time. Missouri Republicans are reacting to proposed cuts in the Kehoe budget, specifically reductions tied to services for Missourians with disabilities. And suddenly, the familiar conservative mantra runs straight into reality. Speaker Pro Tem Chad Perkins says he supports fiscal responsibility, just not cuts to services for Missourians with disabilities. Representative Melanie Stennett says she can't support cuts and reduced service families depend on. Philip Olerking says he believes in fiscal responsibility, but not these cuts. Representative Jamie Ray Craig says programs like in-home care, day programs, and job placement aren't luxuries, they're lifelines. Representative Brian Seitz says programs for children, the disabled, and the elderly should be the last thing cut, even while admitting the current budget is unsustainable. And here's the point. Every one of those statements is emotionally understandable. No decent person wants to cut services that help vulnerable people. But this is where conservatives need to be honest with voters and with ourselves. Because everyone supports spending cuts in the abstract, waste, inefficiency, bureaucracy, fraud. But the moment you put a name on the line item, the moment there's a face, a family, a headline, that's when the screaming starts. This is the rub we never want to talk about. If you say cut taxes and balance the budget and don't touch programs for kids, don't touch programs for the disabled, don't touch programs for the elderly, don't touch public safety, don't touch education, then what exactly are we cutting? Because waste isn't a budget category, inefficiency isn't a line item. Budgets are math. There are choices, and every dollar funds something someone cares about. So when Republicans say cut bloated government spending, voters have a fair follow-up question. What spending? Be specific. And the answer is always not this, not that, not those people. Then eventually the math doesn't work. Now, here's where the conversation needs to mature. This isn't about being heartless. It's about being serious. A serious conservative conversation asks, are these programs effective? Are they targeted properly? Are they structured efficiently? Are there layers of administration that don't directly serve people? Are outcomes being measured, or are we just finding systems on autopilot? Because there is a difference between protecting people and protecting bureaucracies that exist in their name. And conservatives lose credibility when we refuse to draw that distinction. You can believe in limited government and believe in certain services matter, but you can't pretend fiscal discipline exists without trade-offs. If we don't want Democrats to define us as unserious on governing, then Republicans have to stop treating spending cuts like a talking point and start treating them like policy. That means fewer slogans, more specifics, and the courage to say every budget choice is hard, And pretending otherwise is how you end up with an unsustainable system and no credibility left to fix it. That's not cruelty, that's responsibility. And that's a conversation conservatives owe the voters, whether it's comfortable or not. That is Chris's Corner.
I'll tell you the guy who we can have on after they have the House budget in Missouri prepared. That would be Representative Darren Chappell.
Yes.
He can tell us, because here's my prediction. I think the same thing's going to happen this year that's happened the last 4 years, and that is the fact that the House budget has been multi-billions of dollars less than the governor's proposal. Every single year that that's happened, though, the Senate budget chairman, who was Lincoln Huff until this session, put all the money back in and then some. He is no longer in that position. Cindy O'Loughlin removed him from that position. So we'll see if Rusty Black, who's the new Senate budget chair, will agree more with the House or will continue to follow the tradition that the Senate has unfortunately done, which is to put all of the spending back in. So the House has cut the budget by multi-billions of dollars over the last 3 cycles. That's the one I'm most familiar with. But the Senate has put all that spending back.
I mean, from the pandemic, I mean, there's been added 10, 15, $20 billion at least from what the budgets were before. That's a lot of cuts somewhere that you're going to have to cut if you want to get back to really a baseline type of budget. And my question, as I said here always on Chris's Corner, where do you cut?
Yeah, Darren Chappell said he will be cutting about $2.5 billion out of the 2 budget bills that he oversees. Budget bills 9 and 10, which includes a lot of the social welfare spending. He also has a question for the voters in an HJR that he is trying to move that will, guess what, impose Clinton-era and Clinton-promoted Medicaid work requirements back into Medicaid, something we currently, believe it or not, don't have because of the Obamacare Medicaid expansion. So he said that could result in billions more spending. There are people trying to do this, but to your point, there's a lot of Republicans in the State House that don't want to do it.
Well, and it's what I said. A lot of it is social family spending, disabilities and stuff. And, you know, politicians are politicians. That's a hard place to cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all I can tell you is the House has passed budget cuts the last several years, $3 to $4 billion each year. The Senate has put it all back in. Now there's a new Senate budget chairman, Rusty Black, first year on the job. We will see if he will follow what I believe the House is going to do under Dirk Deaton, who is a budget cutter. The problem is it's a numbers game between the Senate and the House. The Senate always gets to have the final say because the Senate budget chairman in the last few years has gotten several liberal Republicans to vote with him, all of the Senate Democrats, plus the House Democrats. Mm-hmm. And then they roll the House on every single budget bill.
How significant in a $50+ billion budget that is $20 billion over does $3 to $4 billion make? That's serious money. I'm not saying it's not serious money, but does it really make a difference?
Do it every year, it'll make a significant difference. You have to start somewhere. I agree. The budget has exploded. And if you were to cut the budget and go back to basic services that should be provided, you would have plenty of money to cut taxes and do everything else. When I left, I left the House 10 years ago, 2015. We were funding everything in the state, everything, to the tune of $26 billion. Now, the governor's budget proposal this year was $52.5 billion. How has that more than doubled in 10 years? It's shocking.
It is. It is.
A lot of it was COVID-era spending and Biden bucks.
Something I want to talk to you about, because you are associated with Americans for Tax Reform and Grover Norquist, and we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him the question about the president's proposal to cut credit card interest rates down to 10% for a year. Well, the AFT is launching a new TV ad that bashes, the Credit Card Competition Act. They are putting out a $250,000 TV spots as part of a broader campaign that's just got $700,000 behind it so far. The ad says, taking away our credit isn't affordability. The ad says it's failure. So I thought it was ironic. I'd asked Grover about that question about the 10%, and then, I'm not saying I've had anything to do with it. It probably was already in the pipeline. But 2 weeks later, they've got ads coming out criticizing that proposal.
Yeah, that's a Dick Durbin proposal, and unfortunately, Chris, as you mentioned earlier, there's some things that we scratch our heads at. Josh Hawley, Josh Hawley has joined with Dick Durbin on this, and here's the thing: if the credit card companies are capped, then guess who's not going to be? So credit cards are not a right?
Yeah.
So when they can't charge what they need to charge, guess who's not going to have access to credit anymore?
Yeah.
Middle and lower income Americans.
Durbin proposed that and Hawley proposed that, but President Trump proposed that as well.
I don't agree with the president on everything, and I'll say right here, that was a bad idea.
All right. Speaker Stump Speech 507.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that you can trust reality, or you can believe their lying eyes.
And then in studio with us will be Mark Schmitz, father of Jared Schmitz, and we're going to talk about the Salute to Our Troops Gala on February 27th. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stigall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration has revoked a key scientific finding that supported U.S. regulations on greenhouse gas emissions. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
President Trump's EPA rescinded a 2009 declaration that carbon dioxide and other gases endanger public health. The president hailed the move to roll back climate regulations.
This action will eliminate over $1.3 trillion of regulatory costs and help bring car prices tumbling down dramatically.
He argued that the Obama-era scientific finding had no basis in fact. However, the administration's decision is expected to spur legal challenges. Greg Clugston, Washington.
President Trump's multi-billion-dollar lawsuit against the BBC will go to trial in 2027. Correspondent Karen Shamas reports.
A U.S. judge has ordered a trial date for February 2027. He rejected an attempt by Britain's national broadcaster to delay proceedings. Trump filed a lawsuit in December 2025 over the way the BBC edited a speech he gave on January the 6th, 2021. The president is claiming $5 billion for defamation and a further $5 billion for unfair trade. The publicly funded broadcaster has apologized to Trump over the edit of the January 6th speech, but rejects claims it defamed him. Karen Shamas, London.
A federal judge has blocked the Pentagon from punishing Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, a former U.S. Navy pilot, for participating in a video that called on troops to resist unlawful orders. A down day on Wall Street with the Dow dropping 669 points, the Nasdaq lower by 469, with the S&P 500 declining 108. More at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies, a high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or STLWindowsandDoors.com.
The boats are back at Missouri's premier boat and fishing show.
February 20th through 22nd at America Center.
Take advantage of screaming deals on hundreds of boats.
Check out wake surf and pontoon boats,
fishing boats and luxury cruisers,
personal watercraft, and more.
Enjoy non-stop entertainment.
Live stingrays, pro angler demos.
Get ready for fun in the sun
at the St. Louis Boat and Fishing Show.
February 20th through 22nd at America Center.
Go to stlouisboatshows.com for info. Kids are free.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
I listen to News Talk STL on the app driving to work.
Download the News Talk STL app.
You got to get the News Talk STL app.
Love the app. Can listen anywhere in St. Louis.
And listen anytime.
News Talk STL right on my phone.
Anywhere. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
This is a big one if you're into environment. This is about as big as it gets, they tell me. But I'm pleased to be joined today by EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. Under the process just completed by the EPA, we are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy that severely damaged the American auto industry and massively drove up prices for American consumers.
Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Yeah, one of the big news stories of the day was something dealing with vehicles, something which many of us have to put up with every single day, for better or for worse. And Chris, this was getting rid of the, I'm guessing, Obama-era endangerment rule, what they called, and basically it allows automakers to get back to doing what they do best, and that's building vehicles as they want for consumers, instead of putting in things like kill switches, like when you pull up to a stoplight and the engine shuts off. That's basically what they're talking about
Is
here.
that what that is? Because, I don't have a modern, up-to-date car, but when we're out of town, we rent cars. And that just so throws me off, and I'm used to back in the day when the car cuts off at the stoplight. You're like, oh, my God, it stopped. I got to get a jump or something's wrong with it. That is just so weird to me when you go to stop. You stop your car and the thing cuts off. It's weird. Actually, I had that in a stack of stuff for the end of the show talking about that big development. Also, too, Tim, locally or in the state of Missouri, there's legislation to get rid of emissions vehicle testing in the legislature. So
overall,
I love that.
That seems like a big scam, too.
It was a scam.
I mean, so what they're talking about doing is, so for all the liberals out there who are freaking out right now that we're going to end the planet as we know it, we're not talking about things that are good, actually good for the environment. We're talking about things that are bad for your vehicles. The argument is and my vehicle's not new either. Eventually, I'm going to have to get something newer, but I try to take care of the Jeep. And it's the reason I say this must be an Obama era rule is because the vehicle I currently drive is a 2017, so it would have been built in 2016, and it has the whole. You pull up to the stoplight and the engine shuts off. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like,
how long did it take you to get used to that?
I don't like it. You know what? I think I can actually turn it off, and I think I'm going to because sometimes it jolts on me. And it's just annoying. And after what is some of the so I heard a lot of people talking about this today. And I actually had to replace the Jeep has two batteries. It has an accessory battery that runs a lot of the onboard stuff, and then it has the battery for the car. I recently had to replace the accessory battery, and it was not allowing that whole start-stop thing going on. And somebody said that the reason you have two batteries is because that start-stop function drains batteries very briskly, And is it really – I mean – starting a car is like a big thing, right? That's like one of the most aggressive things a car has to do is start itself up. And I'm just wondering, are you kicking out more bad things into the environment every time your vehicle stops and starts? I don't know. It doesn't seem right.
And I was always told back in the day that when you start your car over and over like that wastes gas. It's not inefficient. So when those were built into the newer cars, I was like, how is that efficient, having to restart the car every time when you were at a stop? That seems like that waste gas. That's inefficient.
It just seems really clunky, and again, we spoke about this the other day. I hope we get to the point where we're not running vehicles off fossil fuels. We're not there yet, but I bet you we'll get there. Just like we don't ride, just like horses are now for recreation, they used to be for everything. Horses used to be how we got around, and I'm sure people freaked out, with the horseless carriage and the advent of the automobile. It's kind of like how we're looking suspectly at electric vehicles or other hybrids and things like that. But eventually, they probably will perfect them to the point where they hopefully will replace fossil fuels. You just can't mandate it and force it on either the manufacturer or the consumer.
I will never look at buying an electric car until it gets to the point where you can fill your car up or charge your car just as fast as you can going to a gas station. What's that, 3-4 minutes? When they get to that point, when it gets to the point where the weather doesn't affect the battery, so I'm at a snowstorm or something and my battery is medium, I don't have to worry about being stranded. Until they fix those three things, basically, I will never look at an electric vehicle. I'm not going to sit and wait 30 minutes to charge up my car. And probably the third thing, I didn't mention the third thing. The third thing is when you see charging stations as prolific as you see gas stations all around.
Yep.
Until those three things are in place, count me out on electric vehicles.
Yeah, and this may be controversial, but I don't ultimately think it's going to be electric that's going to supplant gas-powered, fuel-powered. I think it's going to be something else. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be something more futuristic. You know, I think of I like watching a lot of the sci-fi stuff, and I think it's going to be something like hydrogen fuel cells or something that's because electric, to your point, I don't think electric is ultimately the way to go because there's so many factors that affect electric vehicles negatively. They don't operate well in the cold.
They don't.
Right? You still can't go extremely long distances, so they're really not built for the American dream of the road trip, you know. The problem with charging, right, and all that. I think it's going to be something else. Some kid somewhere is going to figure out how to, like, reverse engineer some enzyme and some microbiome and some mitochondria, and they're going to make it into a little tiny canister, and it's going to power your vehicle for like 30 years. You know?
We really already have technology where we can be more green and be more efficient, but the oil companies really don't want this technology widespread, and that is natural gas. Just turn our cars into natural gas. A lot of vehicle fleets, UPS runs their vehicles on natural gas. Some diesel or some big truck lines do that. Just make cars run on natural gas. It's efficient. It's cheap. But I always heard that the oil companies are not in favor of that. They make more money from gasoline than they do on natural gas. So that's why the oil lobby has squashed that.
I'm sure there's a lot of things that don't happen because some of the big boys don't want them to currently happen. When we're forced someday to do something, I don't want anybody to worry. We will continue to have vehicles. We'll continue to heat our homes. American ingenuity will lead the way on releasing us from the shackles of fossil fuels. I love the fact that God gave us these fossil fuels. We should use them while we have them. But someday we will transition. We may not be around to see it, but it will happen. I mean, look at the stuff we're experiencing now that we never thought would be possible.
I think, we've done reports here about how the Army is experimenting with these small nuclear reactors to run, naval and Army bases. Submarines run on nuclear power. Maybe they should design an engine that runs on nuclear fuel.
Something maybe the size of a cell phone.
Exactly.
You plug it into the car.
Exactly.
Like a little fuel cell.
Yeah.
You look at science fiction, and so much of it has become science fact now, right? When you go back and look at the science fiction movies of like the 70s and the 80s, and many of the things, right, that they talk about in those have now become real. Yeah. Not everything, but there's a lot of things that were visionary in those movies that have now become actual real. When did you ever think you were going to carry a supercomputer around in your pocket?
I always heard that the early flip phones, those were based off of the communicators that Star Trek they used in Star Trek.
Right.
And I've told this story. When I used to watch Star Trek growing up, I was always like, man, it would be so cool that all you had to do was talk to a computer or ask a computer any type of question, and it has the answer to anything. It's like, how cool would that be? And we're living that today.
Yeah, we got one out in our lobby.
Yeah.
We could talk to her anytime. I'm not going to say her name because she'll start talking back. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. It is 101.9, 94.1 you're listening to. Maybe you're listening to us on your phone. Your phone's your radio. How is that possible? Download the app. Speaking of futuristic things, how amazing is that? That, Chris, maybe even Joey, it might be old enough to remember that growing up, the only way you could listen to the radio was to turn on a radio. That is not true any longer. You can download an app onto your smartphone or your smart TV, and you can watch us, listen to us anywhere on the planet that you have a Wi-Fi or a cellular signal. So do that, and you'll never be without News Talk STL.
You just brought something up to me. When I was at Linda Ragsdale, who's running for O'Fallon.
Yeah, I was
City
at an event
Council.
last night.
That was a fantastic event. We have a lot of listeners in O'Fallon. Great event. But actually, somebody said that to me. There's like, I listen to the radio on my app, and I'm like, oh my God, if Jeff Allen could hear this, he would be grinning from ear to ear. But he was like, that's how I listen.
You'd be so excited. I want you to go to, we want you to go to newstalkstl.com because we have a ton of events coming up. We're going to speak about one of those events in about 10 minutes with in-studio guest Mark Schmitz. He is the father of Jared Schmitz, whose memory we honor every day. We really do. And you know how we do that? If you're watching us on Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram, there is the Freedom 13 flag right behind executive producer extraordinaire Joey V. And there is Jared Schmitz's name, third line down. So we honor the Freedom 13. We honor Jared Schmitz every single day. And every once in a while in the studio, it catches my eye. I make sure to take a good hard look at it. Their lives, your freedom is what is posted on the flag. Well, they got an event coming up. It is the Salute Our Troops Gala, February the 27th, Foundry Art Center in St. Charles. We're going to get all the details to you momentarily when Mark Schmitz joins us in studio. And, Chris, I know you're excited to meet Mark Schmitz in the flesh.
I am. I've heard him many times here on News Talk STL, but I've never had the honor of meeting him in person, so I am definitely looking forward to that.
Lots of other great stuff at newstalkstl.com. There's a photo. Chris, you can hold it up because there's a photo on the website, so I guess it's legal now. There's a photo of what we're giving away on Monday.
Look at
where
that
you got
beauty.
Trump bobbleheads, baby.
Woo.
How hilarious is that? The best bobblehead ever. We're giving away the best bobblehead ever on Monday, President's Day, and we will be giving them away throughout the entire day. We will be giving them away on Mike Ferguson's show with Susie Moore, on Vic and Ken, Vic Porcelli's show, on Jamie Allman, on Tony Colombo, Jones and Arps, and so on and so forth. So you just got to tune in and listen, and you could win a Trump bobblehead. We'll tell you what to do on Monday, okay? So you got to listen on Monday. I can't believe next Monday's President's Day already, halfway through the month.
And then 8 more days to go and the month is over.
Indeed. We will head to Lincoln Days next week as well. Hope to see you in Springfield. And then the gala is at the end of February. We'll be heading into March. All right. Yeah. You know what? I don't think I asked you earlier. What are we talking about near the end of the show today?
Oh, we're going to be talking about the end of an era in American polling, Tim. Big announcement today. And kind of a shock a little bit.
Oh.
And I'll give more details on that at the end of the show. The end of an era in American polling.
End of an era.
Yeah.
Indeed.
It truly is.
All right, Speaker's Stump Speech will be basically based around a clip I found today, a montage that was played on Capitol Hill, and I wish every American could see this. I know C-SPAN and some of the networks carried it, but it was played by Congressman Scott Fitzgerald from Wisconsin, and it will be the subject of today's Speaker's Stump Speech. How about living in reality and not believing their lying eyes?
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
Of immigrants. We're also a nation of laws. Undocumented workers broke our immigration laws, and I believe that they must be held accountable.
They've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked, they're gone.
No great nation can be in a position where they can't control their borders.
While we need to address the issue of immigration and the challenge we have of undocumented people in our country, we certainly don't want any more coming in.
Every place in this country are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens.
Illegal immigration is wrong, plain and simple. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, we convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose. If you don't think it's illegal, you're not going to say it. I think it is illegal and wrong.
Open the borders, my God. You know, there's a lot of poverty in this world, and you're going to have people from all over the world, and I don't think that's something that we can do at this point. Can't do it.
Yes or no? Would you allow the cities to ignore the federal law?
No.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants in this country.
Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Bill Clinton, Chuck Schumer, and I could not believe I had to watch it 3 times. Even Bernie Sanders. The 20th century and even into the 21st century, Democratic Party used to be against illegal immigration. You know who also, I mean, that was them in their own words. But even if you do a simple AI search, even Grok, ChatGPT, and the rest will agree. They go through the Democratic Party's stance, and they explain how they have changed their stance on illegal immigration. They often viewed it as a threat, as you just heard, to the American worker, the actual legal American worker, and to unions. President Bill Clinton signed a law to that effect in 1996, and in 2009, Chuck Schumer described illegal immigration as wrong, plain, and simple. The turnaround began around the early 2000s when key constituencies shifted. Democrats no longer could count on working men and women and blue collar. Actually, Democrats started not being able to count on much of anybody, so they decided to basically import a whole new set of potential future voters. They didn't care if they were legal or illegal, to kind of take care of the fact that most Americans were moving away from the Democratic Party because of their leftward lurch. So that is a walk down memory lane, reminding you of reality, or you can continue to believe their lying eyes. And that's the stump speech for today. It's amazing when you hear it in their own words.
Yeah, and they will say with a straight face and no hypocrisy at all that their positions have evolved. We've got to have more compassion in this country. We've got plenty here, and we should let these people in. They'll make that 180, and we'll have no shame doing it.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll take those folks for granted as well, because the Democratic Party treats everybody as a political pawn.
Yeah, and it's funny. You can play the same type of montage with their position on gay marriage.
Yes.
They were all against it at one time, and now they're all now for it.
Yeah, name your subject.
They've evolved.
Name your subject,
Exactly.
and we could probably find an evolution of left-wing liberalism on just about everything. 5:23 in the Heartland. Time to step aside briefly. We will be right back, as promised, with Mark Schmitz, father of Jared Schmitz. We're going to be talking about the Freedom 13, how you can support this awesome organization, the freedom13.org. The Salute Our Troops Gala, all the details next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 101.9, 94.1, News Talk STL.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies, a high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Looking for the perfect way to say I love you this Valentine's Day? Anthony's Produce has you covered. Get our amazing combo special. 1 dozen beautiful roses and 1 dozen delicious chocolate-covered strawberries for just $39.99. It's romance made easy. Available February 9th through the 15th only, so don't wait. Order online at anthonysproduce.com. Call 636-936-0496 or visit us at 701 Jungerman Road.
I've told you how Tom Shaw Realtors can help you buy, sell homes, farms, acreage. Listen to what Tom Shaw Realtors did in 2025. More than 100 properties sold, $52 million in sales. ShawRealtors.com.
I've got Dr. Michael Lewis here, West Point graduate, physician, and retired Army colonel. Is considered the world's leading expert on the use of omega-3s for traumatic brain injury and concussions. Stuart Tomp brings over 30 years of experience in the supplement industry, brought $1 billion of products to the market, and has appeared in over 6,000 media interviews worldwide, and travels internationally and teaches on health.
Stuart Tomp here, and I've come across the biggest breakthrough in personalized nutrition I've seen in 25 years.
Dr. Lewis here. You know, for the first time, we can measure cellular and gut health. So you can start testing and stop guessing and make decisions based on real data. I'm working with world-class scientists and physicians, and what they're doing is changing everything.
You can message me at elizabeth@statmedicalllc.com. That is Elizabeth at STAT, STAT medicalllc.com.
If you have a tree that you think is dead, it might not be dead. Why don't you try to save it first with Roots Plus? Roots Plus can help you save your tree and keep your cash. RootsPlusLLC.com. That's RootsPlusLLC.com or 314-440-3662.
This Winter Games Update brought to you by Corel Roofing and Best Buy Flooring.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. Chloe Kim, the American snowboarding superstar, settled for the silver medal in the halfpipe. She had won the gold in the last 2 games, but 8 years after she won as a 17-year-old, Kaun Choi of South Korea surpassed Kim in the last of her 3 runs.
I'm aware that I can't do this forever. I think seeing that this sport is left in very good hands. I mean, Kaun is the hardest working. She's talented, but she works hard. And so I couldn't be more proud of her. Yeah, it was such an honor to compete with her today.
Earlier in snowboarding, the men's cross won by Austria's Alessandro Hammerli, the silver to Canada's Elliot Grundon. That's the same way they finished 4 years ago. Germany dominating the luge relay, won it for the 4th straight time. As for the U.S. men's hockey team, a 5-1 win over Latvia. John Stashauer, Westwood One Sports.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things, people.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
A judge has just blocked Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth from taking action against Democratic Senator Mark Kelly's rank and pay over his appearance in a video urging the military to resist illegal orders.
The Pentagon has made this argument that there are limited free speech rights for active duty military members, but Senator Kelly is retired military, and there is no judicial precedent of restricting those First Amendment rights for retired members.
The battle between Hegseth and Kelly continues, Chris.
Yeah, and he does have First Amendment rights. He is a senator, but I think there is a such thing of having some type of restraint, especially when we have troops in harm's way and giving them mixed messages. It's not a good thing for their safety and for the safety of the United States.
Indeed. Thankfully, he very much appears to be the exception and not the rule, not the military folks that I know. And not with the folks who are doing everything they can to support them, like our in-studio guest here. We've got Mark Schmitz back in studio. He came from his cubicle that we've put up for him in the back of the station. Mark, thanks so much for being so willing to jump on air with us, and we're so happy to support the Freedom 13 and everything you're trying to do for our military men and women.
I really appreciate you guys giving me the voice. Yeah.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the gala. Let's talk about the Freedom 13. Let's talk about your son, Jared. First of all, if I was you, I don't know that I could have done everything you've done. It's just amazing. But I imagine this is a bit cathartic for you to have dived in the way you have and to give. You have. I've seen you in action, and I don't know that I have that much to give. You are an amazing human being who wants to just help out everyone who's doing so much for our nation. Tell us a little bit about why you decided to launch the Freedom 13.
Well, a lot of people didn't get a chance to know my son, and so this is my opportunity to carry on in a nonprofit realm what encompasses who my son was. He cared about everybody. And so therefore, you know, you look around and you see these veterans, you see the law enforcement and what they go through, and so many people have no idea what that means and what they deal with on a daily basis. But there's just not enough organizations out there to take care of the problems that arise by having an occupation like that. So we analyzed what other organizations were doing, and we tried to identify where there were some weaknesses, some holes, and that's what we're trying to fill. So with our organization, we're catering to the veterans' mental health, but also through therapeutic nature. So all of our camps are going to be on 100 acres of land, and they're going to be open year-round versus just a handful of sessions a year. And we'll keep a camp director on site living there permanently with their family, and they'll either be a former law enforcement or former veteran, and they will coddle to everybody that comes through. I mean, they'll handle all the day-to-day operations and help them we're trying to build the safe places where other outside organizations can bring their niche expertise in. I'm definitely not a mental health expert by any means, and I will never pretend to be. So I'm going to rely on those companies and organizations that really know what they're doing and provide the places where they can come and cater to the guests that are staying with us for a week.
Excellent vision.
Mark, we've all, of course, have heard about the unfortunate event that took your son's life, and sometimes that overshadows who the actual person was. Tell us, who was Jared Schmidt? Who was your son?
Jared, well, first and foremost, he was always known as the ladies' man.
Oh, okay.
But he was the kindest soul. I don't think the kid has ever had an enemy, as far as I can think back. He was the type that would step in between a situation at high school where there's a bully situation going on. He wasn't a big kid, but he didn't care. He knew the difference between right and wrong, and he took a stand and made sure that whoever was being bullied had somebody there to have their back. And he carried that forth into the Marine Corps. It was a perfect fit. You know, he told us at the age of 8 he wanted to be a Marine. And
wow.
I still remember back then, you know, you take that with a grain of salt at that age, but because when I was 8, I wanted to be a sniper, a trash man, and an astronaut. So, but junior year, he really kicked it into high gear and was dead set, laser focused on becoming a Marine, and that he did in 2019.
Speaking to Mark Schmitz, father of Jared Schmitz. Mark's the founder of the Freedom 13, thefreedom13.org. Don't want to bury the lead here, Mark, so let's talk a little bit about the huge event coming up, and then we can get back into some more of the nitty-gritty and nuts and bolts as to why we're doing this. But there's a big gala. There's a big event coming up. We've been talking about it for quite a while here at News Talk STL. It is the Salute Our Troops Gala, February 27th, Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles, and you have an important deadline coming up at the end of this week.
Yeah, this is a plated dinner, and our caterers are climbing up our rear ends right now. They need a final head count. So we are cutting off ticket sales this Sunday. So this weekend, day after Valentine's Day, that's your last day to get tickets. They're $200 a piece. You can get a table of 8 for $1,400. So you're essentially getting a ticket for free there. This is open bar and plated dinner. It's a black tie, but you don't have to wear a tux. I won't be wearing a tux, but I'll be doing a suit and tie. Right. We want everybody looking their best. We have an incredible guest speaker. Our keynote speaker is Adam Smith. He is a 17-year veteran and Special Forces Green Beret. We saw him give a speech down in Texas that was the most powerful veteran suicide prevention type speech I've ever heard in my life. You know, we all hear the 22 a day, and you kind of get used to hearing it. This is a whole different perspective. He talks about what the taste of the gun barrel tastes like in your mouth, because he sat there with one in his mouth, and his girlfriend luckily walked in and saved his life. And you know, he's very passionate, and there's a lot of interesting facts about his nonprofit that mirror my son Jared. But if you're there, you'll see that in the program. I don't want to spoil it, but we do have 2 very special guests coming in. Out of the 13 families, there's obviously 13 new sets of Gold Star parents, and we have 2 of those sets of parents coming to our gala.
Amazing. So there'll be 3 Gold Star families
That's
in
correct.
one room. $200 a person for everything you just described is a bargain in today's world.
Yeah.
So, folks, go to the freedom13.org, or you can go to newstalkstl.com. Buy your tickets. We need you to sign up this week. If you've been waiting, you cannot wait any longer. The freedom13.org. Chris?
You know, we were talking about during the break. Tim and I have both put on events before, and it's a human thing. I don't know. People have a tendency to want to put things off to the last minute. They have every intention of doing it, but they wait to the last minute. I just want to implore people. Well, I know we have probably the most patriotic audience in St. Louis, in our listening area, and I just want to implore you all to buy tickets for this event and help out this very, very worthy cause. Don't wait till Sunday. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today, and you won't regret doing this at all, I can assure you.
We do have some enticing live auction items,
That's
too.
right. Talk about some of that. So in addition to the food and the incredible people you're going to meet and the stories you're going to hear and the camaraderie and fellowship you're going to have, you've got some other cool entertainment items as well.
I've been holding on to we released a special blend of, we call it the Devil Dog. It's got Jared on the bottle. It's a whiskey bourbon, and this is a bottle we've been selling with only yielded 282 bottles.
Wow.
And they're all numbered. So when one of my trips to D.C., I met with President Trump several times now, but one of those trips I took bottle number 14, 45, and 47. And I gave him bottle number 47. He was running for office at that time. He wasn't our current president yet. And I'd like to think that was a good luck charm that sent him over the edge. But in any case, he reminded me he doesn't drink. I said, I know, sir. I wanted just to have it as a memento. He went ahead and autographed bottle number 45. We are going to auction that bottle off at the gala. And I'm going to hold on to bottle number 14 for another gala down the road because I'm keeping bottles 1 through 13.
Okay.
So this will be the first street legal bottle. That'll get auctioned off at a later date. I also have had the pleasure of meeting with Kid Rock in person. He signed another bottle, and we have a guitar from him and also a signed autograph, and we might actually have some tickets, too, for his upcoming show in St. Louis. In addition to that, I've had the opportunity to meet with UFC fighting champion Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
And he also signed a bottle and a flag for us, so we'll be auctioning that off, too. And then my wife, my beautiful bride, she came up with this idea. She says, you know, since the camp's not technically open yet, because we're still working on building the remaining 11 homes out of 13 homes, she said, why don't we auction off an opportunity to hunt at the Missouri Freedom Camp? And I'm like, that's an excellent idea. We have so many turkeys, so many deer, and you've got bow season, you've got rifle season. So we're going to auction off opportunities to stay at the camp in the housing that's already there. All you need is your food, your drink, and I'll give you access to our side-by-side. I'll give you access to our trail cams so you can study the patterns. But that'll be going up for auction, too.
Come on, people. These are some amazing things you're going to miss out on if you don't attend the gala on the 27th. Buy your tickets now, freedom13.org.
And, Mark, where is the gala going to be held again?
The Foundry Arts Center in St. Charles.
Oh, okay.
And 2 days prior to the gala is Jared's official birthday, February 25th. I'd invite everybody out. It's free. There's no charge for this one. It's a birthday bash at the Town Square Pub and Grill in Garden Prairie. Russo and Company duo is going to be performing there, and it's just going to be a huge group of patriotic people that are singing happy birthday to a hero. So.
You talked about meeting the president. How has President Trump, this administration, been as far as supporting your efforts, helping you through all this, and providing support for you all?
The exact polar opposite of the previous administration, I can tell you that much, because we couldn't even get him to say our kids' names, not even once. But we've met with Trump now, I think it's 6 times.
That's amazing.
And Pete Hegseth and Foreign Affairs and a whole slew of them out there. Trump has been fantastic. What you see on TV is what you get in real life. I mean, we spent 6 hours at private dinner with him, and he was just shooting the breeze. I've had people ask me, what was it like to have dinner with the president? I said, well, here we are in suits and ties and dresses, right? But it wasn't stuffy. It wasn't uncomfortable. It literally felt like you were at your Uncle Bob's backyard barbecue, but you're just dressed up.
Right.
I mean, it was so relaxed. I mean, you're sitting there with the President of the United States, right? And it was so easygoing. I mean, the guy is amazing. He's very genuine. He knew information about my son when we talked to him privately. I'm sure, he's being educated by his staff, which he's a busy guy. I get it. But at least he knew things about my son and took the time to share that information with me. And he's promised to help us try to turn over every stone. And PDXS says we're supposed to get another report coming out in June, I think this year, May or June, which would make the fourth report now, because we've been down to CENTCOM Command in a skiff with no cell phones, no nothing, and they sat there and pumped us full of nonsense. And we just sat there and looked at these generals like, what are you doing? We knew more than they knew that we knew, and we were able to call them on a lot of stuff, and it's really despicable. Things need to change, and I've unfortunately found out from many other people who've lost loved ones, other Gold Star families, that the answers we're seeking we're probably never going to get. It's just the way it works, and I think that's terrible. We had another local hero that recently died shortly after Jared, Colin Arsenbloss. Jared and Colin were both classmates freshman year at Forks and Walt West, and he suffered a tragic training exercise accident in Marine and was killed. And his poor mother's trying to get basic information about what happened, not trying to hold the military liable or anything, just give me answers. And she can't, even for a simple accident, can't get the answers. So I just think that's something that needs to change. Give these families closure so we can move on, and hopefully make sure the things that have happened don't happen again. That's what history's all about.
Sure. I just want to say final, News Talk STL listeners, you know what you need to do. Please help out this great organization. The 14th is the deadline, Tim.
Great venue, great people, great cause, great organization, great food. Why would you not want to go?
Don't wait.
Join us at News Talk STL on honoring our heroes. And Mark, I think it's great you always mention law enforcement too, and you always reference the fact that so many people in law enforcement have served in the military, and that's why you make that recognition. I've heard you say that many times. Friday, February 27th, but you can't wait till the 26th. You need to get your tickets now because Mark's got a deadline of Sunday evening. So please do it now. If you're at home on your phone, go to thefreedom13.org, thefreedom13.org, or go to newstalkstl.com. Mark, it's been an honor for all of us here at the station to participate in this cause and this vision of yours. I think we feel like we're a small part of it, and we are so honored to be so.
Well, I appreciate everything you guys do. You guys are definitely a hero network, a radio station, and you stepped up where many have not. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for everything you do for our country every single day. All right, that is Mark Schmitz, father of Jared Schmitz. Folks, once again, finally, go to newstalkstl.com or thefreedom13.org. Join us at this awesome affair on Friday, February the 27th in St. Charles. We'll be back with one final segment. Chris is going to tell us all about the end of an era. The end of an era. As to what? That's next. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. You can expect a little bit of cloud cover through the evening and into tonight. Temperatures falling into the lower and mid-30s. We have southerly airflow, and this is going to help warm us up on Friday. It's a gorgeous day, mostly sunny skies. A high temperature near 60 degrees. Enjoy Friday because Saturday brings us daytime rain chances, and you can expect some showers continuing through the day before exiting early on Sunday. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
News, analysis, opinion.
He should pick up the phone, and he should say that he will cooperate with this president, making Minnesota safer.
We know there's organized groups. We know there's funding. Who's inciting the violence?
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Let me tell you about something I generally use. That's Royal Banks of Missouri's interactive teller machines, or their ITMs. You know, you can think of them as a branch without the lobby. You pull up, And instead of just pushing buttons on an ATM, you're actually talking live with a real Royal Banks teller on video and audio. Same service you'd get inside, just without getting out of your car. That's why I use them. They're quick, they're easy, and they're still personal. I can deposit or withdraw cash, make loan payments, cash checks, move money, and if I have a question, I'm talking to an actual human being, not a screen prompt. Here's the real advantage, the hours. Weekdays, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturdays, 9 to 2. If you don't live your life between 9 and 5, that matters. I've been with Royal Banks of Missouri for more than 20 years because they always understood that convenience isn't a luxury, it's a part of good service. 16 locations across St. Louis, St. Charles, Illinois, and Northeast Missouri. Locally owned, independently run, invested right here. Learn more at royalbanksofmo.com, royalbanksofmo.com, Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that, the stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need to understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hunters, you know what's going on. Duck and goose season. Finish strong with Whistle Pig Outdoors. Mike Ferguson here. Get your ice rippers to punch through that frozen water for your decoy spread and get your meat eater gear, cookbooks, and rubs. And also, Whistle Pig is one of only 5 First Light dealers in Missouri. Whistle Pig Outdoors on Main Street in Troy. Visit them online, whistlepigoutdoors.com, whistlepigoutdoors.com. Whistle Pig, get back out there.
Shot!
It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
A new Heartland Rasmussen poll finds that 17% of people admit they voted in a state where they don't live. 21% admitted they filled out someone else's ballot. And 8% admitted they were offered money to vote.
548 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Does any of that surprise you, Mr. Jones?
Not at all. not in the least.
Have you ever had a polling company call you? Have you ever done a poll?
I think I have once or twice, and a lot of times you can see when they're calling, and so I just don't have time for it. But I think I've picked up a couple times because I've been wanting to give my opinion, So,
well, as I said, where's my notes here? Okay, the end of an era in American polling. Tim, Gallup will no longer track presidential approval ratings. After more than 8 decades doing so, the public opinion polling agency confirmed that to The Hill on Wednesday. The company said starting this year, it would stop publishing approval and favorability ratings of individual political figures, saying in a statement, quote, "It reflects an evolution in how Gallup focuses its public research and thought leadership. Our commitment is to long-term methodologically sound research on issues and conditions that shape people's lives, blah, 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 blah." I think basically what this comes down to is there are so many freaking polling companies now that we're irrelevant when it comes to this, and we're going to focus on consumer things and that type of polling. But politics, there's just so many political polling firms now. We're getting lost in the weeds.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really is.
It may be. I mean, go to realclearpolitics.com, and they have two polling tabs, and when you pull those tabs down, there's a bazillion different polls, and it is like looking at the forest and the trees oftentimes at the same times, and it takes a while to sift through it. So I bet they have algorithms. They're probably seeing less clicks and eyeballs on the daily tracking poll.
Yeah, and they're just not relevant anymore when it comes to that because there are so many polls, and they're not really the gold standard anymore when it comes to political polling. There's so many that have surpassed them, and I think they are changing their business model and have basically gotten out of it. Remember earlier we talked about the gold medals, the silver medals, the bronze medals, how they're kind of falling apart.
Yes.
And they're not as sturdy as they used to be in the past. This I did not know. The 2026 gold medals, they have 500 grams of silver plated with 6 grams of gold. I always thought they were completely 100% gold. Did you know that they were like gold plated?
I knew that they had changed in recent decades. Chris, I think they used to be back in the day an actual gold medal, and now they're kind of like everything else, not quite what they used to be.
Well, gold is what, $4,000 an ounce,
expensive.
so it probably the price is probably too much.
Are they worth anything?
Tim, that's my next thing.
Oh, well, look at me.
They're worth about $2,400.
Oh, okay.
So 500 grams of silver plated with 6 grams of gold.
Okay.
I kind of feel ripped off if I was a gold medal winner because I want something that's like solid gold. I don't want some gold-plated medal.
And definitely something that doesn't fall apart like these medals have been doing. I think sometimes they get too cute by half. So if you look at these medals, they're almost like they're three-dimensional, but they look like they have 2 different halves to them.
Yeah, they are.
And whoever designed them must not have put the super glue in or something, because several of them I've heard have come apart at that joining joint.
Yeah, I was reading about one person she won a gold medal and it fell off of the ribbon and it fell in half. It split in half when it hit the ground. So yeah, you're right. They are super gluing these things together with the 500 grams of silver and 6 grams of gold. So kind of a ripoff there. Another Winter Games story. We can't say Olympics.
The Winter Games.
Of course, there's always some politics in the Winter Games. Not just Americans that are making a big statement, Tim. Ukrainian Olympian was disqualified over helmet with images of war dead. Olympic officials told the athlete Vladislav Haraskevich that the helmet violated the game's prohibition on political speech. Mr. Haraskevich, who competes in skeleton, what the hell is that?
That's where you face forward on the luge sled. You're face forward going 80, 90 miles an hour down an icy run.
That sounds pretty ominous. Maybe that's why they call it the skeleton.
I think they do, yes.
Yes, it says here, it's a sledding event on ice track. He said that this week he planned to race with the helmet anyway. I don't think so, brother. If you don't have the helmet, correct helmet, they're not going to let you run it. What do you think of that? I mean, I know they don't want, these are games. They don't want them to be political. I get that. But I think the world has pretty universally condemned Russia for what they have done to Ukraine. I mean, is this something you think they should kind of just let slide? Or if you do that, then you have to let all kind of political. Then you'll see athletes with Black Lives Matter on their helmets.
I guess they're worried about the slippery slope, and I still haven't gotten a straight story on like how. So Russia and Belarus
yes,
are not participating under their flags and their countries. Is it because their countries were suspended or not allowed?
They were suspended because Russia, because of the Ukrainian war, and Belarus is basically a puppet state of Russia, and so they have been suspended, but they did make an exception to allow 7 athletes from those 2 countries to be able to compete under this non-flag, non-nation,
the white flag or whatever,
non-nation status. I don't know.
So weird. Here's the thing. I was trying to think. Okay, I understand when we get upset. I mean, you've had some Americans make some these young kids talking about Minneapolis and defund ICE and all that. Okay, we don't like that. But I was thinking, well, what if like some real hardcore America First, Donald Trump supporting MAGA guy started going off? I don't think I want to hear that either, Chris. You know what I mean? It's like I want the hockey players to play hockey. I want the losers to luge. I want the curlers to curl. And I want to watch sports. If I want to watch political commentary, I'll turn on Newsmax or Tim Jones and Chris Arps show.
Because that's what we've been saying for the last few years. We watch sports to get away from politics so we can just watch people that are very skilled in an athletic event do what they do best. I don't need a political slogan. I don't need political speech. So I agree with you. I think sports should be political free. Keep it out of that. You're an athlete. You're very good at what you do, but you're not a foreign policy expert. You're not you're not a military expert. We really don't care what you think.
The only political statement I want to see them make is to wrap themselves in their country's flag.
Exactly.
And if they make it to the podium, sing the national anthem, and I've seen a lot of very emotional ceremonies. The one thing that bothered me the other day, and there's an athlete by the name of Eileen Gu, and she's like a famous snowboarder.
I think I've heard of her. Yeah.
Born and raised in the U.S. She's a U.S. citizen. She attends Stanford. She's a fashion model, so she's living the American dream. She's participating under the Chinese flag because that's her.
Okay.
The only explanation I got was that was her mother's country. Now, they didn't say if her mother's still living there or not. I'm like, why are you choosing to communist China?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So, honestly, Chris, I think karma may have bit her in the butt. She fell twice in her snowboarding competition, and the Swiss gal, Matilda, won. And tonight, I'm going to be cheering for Chloe Cole, who is a Chinese-American, who is snowboarding for the U.S.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, go Chloe.
Yeah, I don't mind. We talked about this story yesterday about the Saraceno kid that's here from St. Louis that is competing under the Italian flag for hockey. I mean, that's fine. They're a NATO nation. They're democracy. But China?
Yeah, you're going to voluntarily, I don't know that if you got into China, they would let you out.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I didn't appreciate it.
And here's a story that doesn't apply to me and you and Joey because we're all have significant others. But single orders now make up 47% of fast food trips compared to 31% in 2021. So a lot of people are single and eating alone, but we don't have to worry about that here.
You don't indeed.
Joey and I and you, and we have significant others and wives. All right, great show today. Hey, go to the website, Mark Schmitz, Freedom 13. Buy your tickets before the 14th. Do that. I know you guys will. Coming up, Larry Connors USA. The story behind the story, the Charles Lindbergh baby kidnapping. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe and have a great evening.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your